one of the first trips I made was they asked me to make a 3-week trip to France and Germany. So it took me 2 weeks to decide that I would step into Germany, because I've always thought of it that the ground there is full of the blood of my people. But I asked around rabbis and other experts, and they all said to go. They said that Germany deals with Israel and does a lot of good things, and nobody told me not to go, except my brother said he wouldn't go. He had a hatred for the Germans because he experienced it as an adult, which I did not do. So after 2 weeks, I said, yes, I would go. I knew all the time where I was. It never left me. And as I said, I felt like I was walking on the ground that was full of the blood of the Jewish people. So that never left me. And then I had an incident in East Berlin that you would have read about in my book. One day, we were in East Berlin, where it turned out I was born in East Berlin, and we went there and found the house where I was living, I mentioned earlier. So one day I was crossing the street with my husband, and coming the other way were 2 men in uniform. I think they were policemen, but I saw them, and I thought they were Nazis coming for me. And I got very frightened. It didn't last long. I got over, but that was an incident. And then I tell in my book, one day I had breakfast with a professor and his wife, and he complained about the fact that it was so many years later. How many years did the Germans have to feel guilt? And that was a question. And then I met with somebody at the Jewish Community Center, and I posed that question to him about how long did Germans have to feel guilt. And he gave me a good answer. Let me think if I can remember it. But his point basically was that it's something never to be forgotten, and that the Holocaust didn't happen that long ago. And then, of course, I went to a concentration camp in Dachau. We were, wherever we walked around, I saw this man and his wife. Also, most of the people were Germans at the camp. So finally I said to my husband, wherever I'm looking, I'm seeing that man, and they're speaking a foreign language. I didn't know what language they were speaking. So I finally went to that man. I said, what is it? Wherever I look, I see you. So then he told me this story. I think he was speaking either Yiddish or Hebrew to his wife. She was Israeli. He had come to testify in a Nazi war trial, but he brought his wife to Auschwitz because he had been in a similar camp, and he wanted her to see what it was like. And he told me that when he first arrived there, one of the Nazis pointed to the smoke coming out of a chimney and said to him, tomorrow that'll be you. And he also told me that while he was in that camp, he was once so beaten with a whip. Oh, they had an exhibit of the whips that the Germans used. And he showed his wife, and he said to me and to his wife that he had once been beaten by such a whip, and after that, for 2 weeks, he couldn't sit down. And then I also had a nice experience. I met with different people. I met with 2 women who were in Munich, who were heads of Jewish organizations, and I asked them, how can you live in Germany? So one woman was a little ashamed of it, and she said her son considers himself a cosmopolitan, whatever that is. The other woman said that that they had gone for a while to Russia, and they didn't feel comfortable there. They didn't know the language, they didn't know anything, and they came back to Germany because that's what they know. And then she said to me, after all, she said the Swiss made the that Cyclone B or whatever was used in the camps, but later people told me the Swiss didn't. So she said she works with the Germans, they're nice to her, they accept her, and what can I tell you?